and we won't slow. We got that drop at the every low. Spamming local too. Spamming local blah 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 too. I feel just like a retarded. Oh, when we're kicking ass in war. I don't care what they say, no bullet waste. I don't care about that. 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 What's with these neutrals dissing my core? Why did they good at us? What did we ever do to these guys that made them smirk so much? Well, I guess we're bad. I can make them mad. That's why they're all crying. I feel just like a retarded. Oh, when we're kicking ass in war. I don't care what they say, no bullet waste. I don't care about that. Don't you dry your tears, we'll always be here, whether in Declan or Dell. Your efforts were wasted, your strategy shed, and Erie still prevails. Well, I guess we're back.
What's actually happened, right? What's actually happened, because we've been wondering where Manborn is.
I love how
What's
you're
actually
drawing
happened
this
is
out.
what's
He's
actually happened.
drawing it out.
Yeah,
Drawing it out.
I've
Let's
drawn it out,
forge
but like,
this fucking
yeah,
sword of
exactly. Yeah, this will be beautiful because you know that CCP are actually making a new office. He's been cemented into the floorboards.
Wow. No idea what you guys are talking about, but hey, welcome to another edition of Push
We're
the
just
Time.
talking about CCP Manbjorn and how he's not straitjacketed in the basement, he's cemented into the floorboards. That's how this show's going.
Proof I actually have Kirkland sparkling water right here.
Hey.
And a bunch of
And with that, we welcome the audience to another episode of Push to Talk.
Welcome, everybody.
Well,
how you doing? Let the vodka flow, whatever. Is it equal parts of vodka with your flavored drink? Is that what
that is how they pour the shots on holiday. So yes.
Oh.
You should always.
I suddenly
be
had a moment.
So I used
two-thirds alcohol to mix it.
Well, here's what I did. I used this much of the drink, and I have. Let's see if I can get this into focus appropriately. I have about this. Only
No,
this much
it
vodka.
just doesn't work.
So it was this much vodka and this much juice. Is that right?
I think
that's not right.
That Tito's bottle almost seems as though it's using the same technology to phase in and out of existence that like local has.
The Cloaky Tito's bottle.
All right.
Well, it's a local bottle.
Cloaky Tito's. All right. This is looking a little thin, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, Caleb's got it right in chat. We're all
Right.
falling heavily on the sword of alcoholism in order to deal with basically anything that's gone on in the last week. Like, Jesus Christ.
I don't know what you mean.
Hey, I'm onto the farmer.
Yeah, I think we should
Hey,
rend this
by the
up
way-
with how this is a piece of art.
I have to apologize because I got yelled at by Dirk here because we have lots of people on and I'll read them in a minute. But Dirk yelled at me because my ping was 4.5 pages, and I'm sorry. I won't ever do it again.
I did not yell at you. I said it was a ping and a half. It was a very good ping, alright? I liked the ping.
But we're having fun. It's fun. That's the fun of the show.
I did not yell at you. He yelled at you.
Yeah, I know.
Exactly. That's just how I roll, to be honest.
So-
you know how it goes.
I know, it's
Also, we lost Craig.
Oh, Craig died again.
Craig has died again.
Yeah, so we're just gonna have to just go. Well, we'll have to see if he got any of the pre-show
Did you-
because that was freaking hilarious.
Did you not, Eric? Did you not immunize Craig?
I
Is
don't-
he not part of the
I don't know what's wrong
95%?
with him. He says
Fuck's sake.
issue with the voice server. Try changing the server region in the server settings. Error. I don't know.
Anyway, you can pull the audio from Twitch. Sure,
Yeah, I can.
It'll be
I will,
fine.
and I will. So just to run down, obviously everybody sees Mist and Caleb here on cam, and off cam we have Arendis, Sothersil if he gets back. His Discord died. Obviously we have Dirk, and we have McLeod here.
Hello.
So
And RJ. RJ just dropped as well for some
weird,
reason.
very
He's
strange.
back, he's back.
Yep.
I think Sothrasil like basically sort of preemptively started ramping up his rage, and like his TCP/IP network just went nope.
That's it. It's all over.
I'm
see.
just to highlight how bad it's getting. I normally drink cider and vodka. I was just reading the instructions on how to drink whiskey.
Seriously.
Reading
Open-
the
Open
instruction.
bottle, pour into mouth.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
it's just pour drink into glass.
It only gets
That's it.
complicated if you want to use the IV, because then you got to do that little, alcohol swab.
So it's like, what do you serve it chilled? Do you serve it room temperature? How should you enjoy this?
You're
Yeah,
overthinking it.
The real difficulty with IV stuff is making sure that you don't introduce air to the system. That's it.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. All right, so we're going to table the discussion on apple cake until later in the show. We were going to start off with that, but we're not now because Soth isn't here. Because I want to hear all about this apple cake because I am a fan.
You don't want to. I said this earlier pre-show, but so
Holy shit, guys! I just lost my Discord too. So you only pretty much have me on voice right now. Let me just put this in the notes. So it is us. I'm gonna see if I can switch the audio. Hey guys, can you hear me? Mist and Caleb? Switch to audio on Zoom until we get Discord back. I can hear Mist. I can't hear Caleb. If you can hear me. So you've got live problems. So let me see if I can just restart Discord if that works. Sorry guys, apologize for that in the show.
So if we immediately put our Gurgoons, our edit hats on, we can just say and confirm that we're getting DDoS by CCP.
Probably. Caleb, did you switch your audio over to Zoom? I wonder if we can get the other guys in the Zoom as well. It might mess up our video feed here for a little bit that I can fix. But do we want to try and do that? Of course, we can't tell them because there's no Discord.
Yeah, I think we're all trying to go onto the audio onto Zoom. Yeah.
Can you guys hear me?
Now we can hear you now. Perfect.
Oh,
perfect,
great.
perfect,
I was
perfect,
just
perfect.
muted on the thingy. Great.
PM us in Jabber. That means I got to start Jabber up again. Yes, I will PM you in Jabber. Fantastic. So, while I try and get them back on, Caleb missed. Let's go over some of the topics and some of the things we were talking about. Let's get the conversation rolling.
Well, we kind of now when the rest of the room is not here, we kind of should go into the whole "we told you so," because I'm pretty sure that we dedicated almost 3 entire shows on breaking down stats and looking at data and talking about numbers. And from reading the CSM minutes, we were pretty much right. And it seems as if CCP don't really know how to crunch their own data. And I'm sure that there's like at least 8 or 10 direct quotes where they're saying, oh, we don't have that data. Or we have data, but it's muddled and we can't use it because we put too much in at once. So there you go, guys. That's the conclusion from CCP themselves. We were right. Everyone else were wrong. Could the white hats please step down now?
To emphasize this, effectively what they said is that when you're doing a scientific experiment, if you're a scientist, if you wear a white coat and you're fancy and you might have doctor in your name, what you do is you come with a hypothesis and you change a variable and you test it. And you're like, yes, this worked, or yes, it didn't. CCP literally rolled in, threw darts at the board, went, go with that, and then goes, well, I don't actually know what did what, because we did so many things and we literally have no idea what changed what. So
am I the only one that starts thinking about how in science you do something like, what is it, proving or disproving the null hypothesis? I think there's a pun in there somewhere. Did I lose the room?
No, you didn't lose the room. I'm just concentrating on other things. RJ is here with us.
So, if I can
as you
figure out
see,
how to get this damn thing to work.
I am probably going to. I'm going to pull your video feeds, guys, just so it's not on there. I'll fix them.
But
I got rid of my video feed. I don't know why it's still showing for you guys.
At least now that we
It might
are
be
on
my-
the other
it might
side
be
of
my
the blackout, right? We're pretty much in a situation where the whole thing has normalized the data from null because everyone left. So now the data points are going to be so much lower, so it's fine. Now they can start getting back into science mode.
Oh
For
god, I can
science.
only use freaking spacebar in here? What the hell?
There,
yeah, I
so
don't know.
Kurt's there.
It's my microphone on at the moment because I don't know what's
You absolutely
happened.
are.
Okay, so I need to actually push this mute button when I'm playing or doing something else.
No. The drifter attacks were great, and CCP even apologized, going, "Oh, we might not actually do that again, guys. Sorry, we won't do that again." I'm pretty sure that he said that like 3 times in the CSM minutes.
It's my understanding that the drifter attacks were done with Arc,
There we go.
and it was my understanding they did the test with the Arc, and in all the tests it came up that the drifters won and Arc was unable to defend it. They had to get support from CCP from a GM to be able to do it, and then they turned around and they said, this is exciting, this is quite cool, and then they were like, right, everyone just copy paste, do it to every single structure in nullsec, because it worked in a controlled environment in highsec. So it's no harm to them. I feel like it was 2 people thing. One saying, hey, let's do a quick test. Yeah, that worked. And the other says, cool, give it to everyone in nullsec. They should enjoy it.
Sorry. Oh, yeah, this is cool. Let's test this live. Copy paste.
That's the thing is like,
Go.
oh, the drifter AI was buggy. Right, so if, like, seriously, you don't stick it in if you think it's not right. If you're a big boy,
Did you just
big
say
boy
that?
right now, big boy, big boy talk. If you don't think everything is 100%, and you're probably not drinking at work, if you're not 100%, if you're not sure it's 100%, you don't stick it in. You give it a couple weeks. You see if it in test environments.
So they're using Saturday Night Fever rules? Like, what the hell?
They're literally going, right, it worked in this controlled environment where the AI won every single time, apart from the times when we literally had to use our GM tools. Let's push it out. And you know what? It ended a fucking war because of it.
I mean,
Yeah, so everyone,
it
the
wasn't just
audience,
one
the
war.
audience need to pay attention to what Miss just said. If it's not ready, you don't stick it in. That's just the rule. Come on, guys.
It wasn't just one war. It was our war in the north, where we were considering like pushing beyond tribute, and people can say I'm spinning, whatever. I had a conversation with Mittens in London a week before the Drifters happened, going, do we want to go further? Do we want to do things for our EU time zone? I had that conversation. And the other aspect is that in the south, the test fraternity thing is still happening, but when the Drifters were happening, everything stopped. That wasn't even a war that was considered to be done at that point. That was actual ongoing conflict that CCP managed to drop a fucking anvil on and stop in its tracks for a while. And who the hell fucking knows at this point?
The thing is, it's literally a case of why should we declare war? Eve is sold on these big groups doing war and smashing things up, which is cool. I like war. I like to go on war. But the problem is, I can't see us going on a war because CCP have literally said, the age of chaos. Sprinkle some chaos. Sprinkle some chaos. Because it's much easier for CCP to fuck shit up than it is us to pack our toys up, go away to war. Because it takes a few weeks to a month for us to go from Delve actually up there, because we have more than 69 real life people in the Imperium. We actually need like a week's notice to tell people, and then a week's notice to start getting everything ready and to move up and do the plans.
I debate that because I saw a fan fest thing from many years ago that said there are only 20 people in the Imperium and we just had really cool computer systems. I think you're wrong with that.
Also, that comment about the vision and the roadmap, we've actually saw it on the scope. They're planning to expand the jitter storage, stick it all on the moon, and bury it underground with all those good ideas for high second rebalancing that was posted on Reddit.
Realistically, the only thing that you bury in concrete is radioactive material. So
And Manbjorn.
having and Manbjorn. Sorry, are we assuming that Manbjorn isn't radioactive here? Like, who knows?
Nobody heard the pre-show when we were going into the Manbjorn and stuff. You might wanna give them some info.
Right. Okay. So for anybody who's listening who hasn't ever heard of CCP Manbjorn, and
That'd be me.
Who's that?
Who's that?
I'm very, aware of the fact that a lot of people don't know who Manbjorn is. CCP Manbjorn is the executive producer for EVE Online.
CCP
So, to give you an idea, the entire point of CCP Manbjorn's job is to focus on the EVE Online intellectual property, specifically just EVE. Like, of all of the people at CCP, Manbjorn is the executive producer. He's the guy who's supposed to be talking about EVE. And, his focus is on EVE, while Hilmar might be talking about, I don't know, fucking Valkyrie or Gunjack or whatever the fuck VR thing. And CCP Manbjorn is somebody who has never been on a trip to go to one of the EVE Online events. He's never been to Amsterdam, he's never been to Vegas, he's never been to Sydney. And yeah, his job is to fix EVE, basically.
Is there an effort to make sure that he gets to Vegas this year?
I don't know, but he's not on the list of devs set to go to Vegas already. There's like 20 plus devs that were released on Wednesday, I think.
They were
did a dev
released?
blog.
Like, they let him out?
Not Manbjorn. He's not let out yet. Seriously.
No Manbjorn.
Nor is Fozzie. Like, Fozzie's still... Fozzie's not going to Vegas, apparently.
Who do you think is feeding Manbjorn?
Yep. I thought it was Falcon, because all he does anymore on Twitter is post food pics, like from the CCP cafeteria. It's like, seriously.
I mean,
This
look at
is-
this!
this
Look
is
at
what
this
we have to
amazing food that they're serving us. Oh my god, guys! Hashtag they did it again. Well, I'm fucking hope so that they fed you food.
Well,
It's
also,
actually
does like somebody
Vodka.
have McLeod's fucking phone number so that we can so that we can give him the link to get in here?
Isn't I'm like
Is he on Jabber? I don't know.
I don't know.
Does this work? Can you hear me?
Oh,
Yes,
you're
we can hear
awesome.
you.
You got it? I was just looking
Hey,
for you
Tom.
to send it to you.
Hi. Yeah,
Go
Discord. Discord couldn't contain me any longer. Like, couldn't handle all the rage.
Do you know
Just-
why?
just
Do you
too
know
big
why?
for boots.
Because Discord was tired of hearing about apple cake, but I am not.
That apple cake was amazing.
Okay, so let's go into the apple cake real quick.
Okay.
Softer Soul, what are you talking about? Tell the audience what you've been talking about with this apple cake.
We had an apple cake a few days ago with apple cider in it, and it was just amazing. With like a bit of whipped cream on top. Just best apple cake ever.
So does it have like chunks of apples in it? I mean, help me out here, because
Yeah, it's basically so you use the cider to make like some kind of jelly. It's almost like a pudding, right? And then you have like apple pieces inside that. Recipe? You want me to put the recipe on INN, don't you?
Hey, yeah, let's post an article with the recipe for your family's cider cake. Yeah, let's do it.
I'm like serious. Like,
I'm down
I want to
here.
make this stuff.
Let's go for it.
All right, you'll get the recipe.
There we go, guys.
I mean-
Recipe to be posted on INN sometime in the next few days, I guess.
I mean, it's getting so desperate. We're actually looking for the South War with those like poking at a stick, going, "Come on, do something." so
No,
we can
no,
write
no, no,
about
no,
it.
no, Mist. It's getting so desperate that we're asking our writers what other games they're playing and to write about those. That's how bad it is at the moment. Like,
Ooh,
we're not even looking for EVE Online content. We're looking for anything you're playing because
Literally-
fuck me, what are you
We
playing?
actually give a shit what our writers want to write about.
Yeah,
Hey,
it's like normally they're like,
Oak and
No.
Ralph has a pretty good idea there. They need to move CCP to the UK and hire devs from a pool larger than the ones willing to live in a 300k isolated country.
No,
might
no,
be
no,
a
no,
good
no, no, no,
idea.
no, right. They needed to do that 3 years ago. Moving to the UK now is a bad prospect. Don't do that.
Well, I'm taking it
What
in the
you're-
context of somewhere other than an island in the middle of the Atlantic.
Oh, for sure. But like the UK is not that place right now.
Like-
we need to do a
Dude.
lot of things in the UK before that's
Holy
viable.
shit, if they didn't close down their damn Atlanta office, they would have been better off. They should have just moved everything to Atlanta.
Yeah.
Guys,
Like, why not?
you're missing something there. It doesn't matter how many devs they hire if they put 80% of them on fucking new player retention because
Yeah.
we didn't do that already a year ago.
What actually needs to
Yeah,
happen there
mismanagement.
is-
Hold on. New player experience, take 10.
They're not going to move away from Iceland because, as Darius Johnson once said, I'm sure he said it more than once, CCP exists purely to give a small cabal of Icelanders jobs.
Can I
You know,
point out
second
that
reference to Darius today. You know.
I really am concerned about the fact that we're now talking about Darius Johnson being right. Like, the moment you start talking about Darius Johnson being correct, you know you've gone way into the...
I heard someone say that
Twilight
Givlin
Zone,
Goblin was
basically.
being correct. I think that's even more scary.
Oh, no,
If both Darius Johnson and Givlin Goblin is now the people we refer to as being correct, we're in deep shit for like.
Like Gevlon Goblin has been right pretty frequently in the
Horrendous. I didn't
clock
know you wanted to
strikes
do
twice
video.
kind of thing.
No, I'm
But-
fine.
You want
Awesome sauce.
I'll redo the video, folks.
I mean, we.
Yeah, I invited McLeod. I sent him the Zoom.
Cool.
Whoops.
Anyway, Gevlon is right in the clock strikes twice a day kind of deal. Actually, talking about Darius Johnson being right is just insanity. Like Darius Johnson is the guy who uttered the "We're not trying to destroy the game, we're trying to destroy your game" quote. You know, Darius Johnson is that kind of insanity, but we're now going.
Yeah, he's the jackass in the crowd.
Some of the shit he said was right. Like, how are we saying that nowadays?
Thing is, you get to a stage in the game where you literally don't care anymore. Like a year ago, I used to be a bright-eyed new writer, wanting to be sponsored, wanting to be like acknowledged by the ivory towers and the motherships of all the writing I do. I wanted the people in charge to be saying, yes, we like what this person has said. And
I remember when you were that cute and naive.
And over that years,
funny.
I realized something. It's so much more fun not to be that person, because I get to say things like CCP fucked in-game events, which I enjoyed writing about. 7,000 people read about the Choristas event guide that I wrote. I remember testing for hours and putting so much effort into it, and then CCP was like, yeah, we're gonna fucking not do them anymore because you keep finding them out on Sissy and figuring out how they work. So we stopped putting them on Sissy, but then they started breaking on Contact because we didn't do any testing.
Well, just remember, the real pinnacle, though, is to get to the point of being both. Like, if you look at where Jintan is right now, he's the guy that everybody at CCP knows and they kind of pay attention to, and yet he is so, they fucked this up, didn't they? Jesus Christ, CCP fucked up breakfast this morning.
We actually had this conversation earlier on.
We did.
Jintan is so far out there now that he is beyond the 5 stages of grief. He's forgotten entirely about the 5 stages of grief even existed. He's
gone straight to Sothrasil.
There.
That's good. Did he take cake with him?
But yeah, there's a wonderful thing in chat right now. I saw in chat just a few minutes ago. Something about the 5 stages of grief. No, the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. It was King Ares saying something about the apocalypse. I'm scrolling, trying to find it. It was funny.
TJ Gevlin and Jester all right at the same time. What's
the
apocalypse?
Exactly that one. That's just.
I think honestly, the 4th sign of the apocalypse is in fact an angry and sober Jintan.
That's really fair, actually. Jintan is currently sober and he gives no fucks.
Sober being the scary one there.
Yeah, he's not on that kush. He's not on anything.
I don't need alcohol anymore. That's the stage he's at, pretty much. And of course, the big thing is that he pretty much says that his favorite show now in Eve is Push to Talk. So that's also a new standard.
Oh, we know he's gone off the deep end and he's nuts now. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I actually feel pressure.
Can you say that one more time? But
there's no way back. There is no way back.
My feeble mind can't handle that.
Yeah, there's like at least 3 people who have told me or have said whilst I'm in attendance that they're looking forward to this week's show. That's fucking terrifying. Some people go around advertising their podcast, like, please listen to this podcast, ask me about my podcast. I'm like, don't you fucking dare listen to my podcast. This is not a podcast for you. Your life will not be enriched by the hour plus bullshit that you will listen to if you listen to this podcast. This is not a
will regret the
podcast for
time
you.
spent. Yeah.
Well, we're doing God's work, right? This is like a support group now where people can come in, sit around, and actually rage and put up their hand saying, "Hello, I'm an Eve player too." That's pretty much what we're doing now in this show.
It's cathartic, right?
Yeah, it's therapy. It's before you actually get the stress medicine that CCP has promised us. You can come into the support group and hang with us.
McLeod had a good thing about that, actually, about the stress
Well,
medicine earlier.
Yeah, because like I mean, if CCP is going to be fronting the stress medicine for us, then the future's bright for the NHS in the UK, because like we can actually literally get everybody in the UK to like sign up for Eve Online, which will boost numbers in game, and also positive effect on the NHS. Like all of the medicine will be free from CCP.
Hilmar's master plan revealed.
Exactly.
Yeah, I still suspect that they put all their money into Big Pharma, because that would explain a lot.
If that was CCP's grand plan, Helmar wouldn't have thought about it. It would have just been like, my job here is done. Did you actually do anything? Nah.
I just think there's something wrong with Hilmer's dosage at the moment, because the thing he's talking about, dreams and Native American Indians, and I'm just getting confused all the time.
I'm telling you, he's hanging out at Joshua Tree.
I'm just kind of wondering. I'm wondering whether
basic anthropology is wrong as he got.
Oh my god!
I mean, this is actually really amusing to me. I want to point out right now that this show has been live for half an hour, and we haven't even touched the minutes yet.
And Eric's the only one.
Don't talk about the M word.
We've made oblique references, but we've not actually talked about anything that's gone on in Eve. We're just
hey, McLeod, how many pages? How many pages do you have, McLeod?
By the way,
I stopped a fair while ago, maybe because I didn't have the prerequisite vices to be able to deal with it. It was at 3 pages at that last point.
But the 3 pages specifically about who?
about one member of the CCP, and regarding only one of the CSM summits.
I'm just puzzled that he didn't do the sun dancing ritual, right? To enter Null in the future, you have to do the actual sun dance ritual.
Rain dance. It's rain dancing, not sun dancing.
No.
Rain dancing.
No, I'm talking
get
sun
into
dance.
Null, you have to do a completely different dance.
Oh, right. To get to Null, you have to be entirely opposite to Hilmar. This actually makes some sort of weird sense.
Exactly.
Regarding Hilmar's dosage, by the way, like, are we absolutely certain that like he's not getting dosage sort of recommendations from the the same doctor that Michael Jackson had?
Oh my god!
Wow.
Hey, you were all thinking it. I'm just saying it.
Yeah.
I tend not to think about Michael Jackson all that much. Sorry.
I do not know.
Yeah, not anymore.
There we go.
Yay. Does this work?
So
I should turn on my video and really screw everything up.
No, don't do that.
We'd get straight to the point where I've got to go for a meeting before Eric got the video straightened out.
Thanks. Dick.
So let's actually talk about the minutes. That's what.
Hey, are you wearing a NASA hat?
So you
Yeah.
want to talk
I think
about...
I have that same hat.
I do want to point out before we get to the actual minutes and talking about them that somebody in chat has said, please, not the minutes again. I can't handle hearing about them anymore. When we're at that point about CCP's communications.
Yeah, but it's our version of the minutes. It's our version of the minutes.
We'll put a lighthearted twist on it. Yeah, we'll put a lighthearted twist on it. It's fine.
No, we won't.
This isn't going to be like it.
It's the non-whitewashed version of it, or whatever you call it, or the non-brainwashed version.
All right.
McLeod, did Fozzie say anything interesting in that thing?
He was a paragon of virtue, dude. Like, he was literally the best person in the room all summit long.
Right,
he was the funniest.
Arendis has something to say on this topic.
I mean,
well, sure. As I said in the pre-show, I think the minutes are an absolute work of art. These are these are without a doubt the most comprehensive, informative, helpful minutes I've ever read from CCP. I think they show that CCP has everything on the ball and that they're going to be moving the game in the right direction. I'm also amazingly surprised I got through that with a straight face.
I'm sitting here going, what did he just take a shot of?
Oh my god!
Was it absinthe he's on today? What's going
Now
on?
returning from reverse world.
Someone took too many meds, that's for sure.
The thing is, if we're going to talk about the minutes, let's first talk about what's not in the minutes. The retracted pages and the stuff that they've taken away.
Oh, I thought you were referring to CC and Mambion for a second there.
No, yeah. No, so...
Somebody ban Noisy because he said pumpkin spice.
Ooh.
Whoa.
Don't ban him for that. That's CCP level banning.
I would, but I've had my mod removed, so I would.
You're modless.
I'm modless. I can't do
by the way, I'm just jagging it. I just wanted to say his name because he's
Did that apple cake have pumpkin spice in it by any chance?
A hint of a latte.
All right, go on. Sorry, Rendis.
So we know that they took parts out of the minutes. We know that they've retracted and taken stuff away.
Clearly, in fact.
Yeah, no, it was a Mist Warden that was talking, not Orenda.
Sorry.
Anyway.
Oh, there we go. Okay.
So yeah, so we know that they've taken stuff away from it. We know that they said that they will release some minutes later down the line, and then there'll be some minutes that are always going to be retracted because it's got the the top secret stuff in for another year's time. And so that confirms that they at least talked about something that we are, as a community, not allowed to hear, not allowed to know about. So that gives me hope that they might actually have something in the pipeline, maybe with these dreadnoughts. And it's. I hope you guys like Triglavians because you're getting fucking Triglavians. That's all you're getting.
The best thing about that, I think probably given what has been said on other shows like Open Comms last night, I think a lot of the stuff that was redacted in the sessions we didn't see are things like what they have are things like the one or two things they have planned.
Yeah, like what this big structure is going to do with planets and systems, and they're gonna.
That's all been planned out for months.
Yeah,
You mean the big thing that they are gonna do with 20% of their developers?
Yeah,
that's absolutely gonna fall on its fucking face. Let's be honest.
Because the 20% of the developers are working on Abyssal stuff.
Well, we'll see how good developers are. We'll see how good the art team is at programming stuff.
Not invasion stuff, Abyssal stuff, because apparently that's a difference.
My takeaway was that there's a funnier edition coming soon, so...
I mean, that's fair. But, I mean, to actually talk about the minutes and stuff in the minutes, rather than just our takeaway...
Paulie, is this better?
So here's the first thing that I read in the minutes that was really interesting to me, and it was the first session, right? We're talking about the vision and future session, and CCP Burger brings up the four main focus points for CCP. 1, stop the bleeding. 2, fix the stupid. 3, excite and teach, and 4, incentivize return. So CCP has already acknowledged that bleeding is happening. There are issues that are causing bleed away from veteran players. There are issues that are causing bleed away from the new players. Then we have to fix the stupid. I don't know if anybody at CCP has ever been part of a major organization, but fixing the stupid is not a thing that is done overnight, and it's a very difficult thing to do. Hell, I was part of an argument in our in GSF's Kremlin channel, our corp leadership channel, earlier on today that exemplified that stupid still exists. You can't fix stupid.
I'd like to point out that before fixing the stupid, you first have to identify the stupid, I'm working on that right now, by the way.
Is that talking about the user?
Sounds like a
Identifying
12-step
is
program.
Identifying the stupid is easy.
You point at people.
You'd be surprised.
No, he's right. You point at the people.
Yeah. I mean, when you've got a group of developers who have been working on a game for collectively as an organization 16 years and they don't know anything about it, I think you found the stupid.
I mean, what was the question? It was like, can bots smart bomb?
No, that question, from what Innominate and others said last night, that series of questions was really more meant as, is this a thing you're seeing a lot of? Is this the primary way it's being done? Not.
I haven't actually read the minutes because
yeah, I that whole thing. And do bots actually use super carriers? Yeah, of course they do.
I mean, there's
just
a
want to.
lot.
You've been sending people to ULI to die because they were botting in super carriers. I hope you already know that.
Exactly.
I just want to add here. Even if you had read the minutes, you wouldn't know any more anyway, because they are just written in a horrible way, and they are missing context all over the place.
Yeah, the context,
thing is,
no, McLeod, Softshell really has just come upon a really important point, in my opinion. That the context of these minutes is fucking horrendous. There's a point at which CCP Fozzie appears to suggest, because of the way the minutes are presented, that changing module cycle times is difficult.
Yeah, that's not difficult. Well, yeah, I do totally get where you're coming from, Doug.
Contextual.
I do totally get where you're coming from, Doug, but I really don't believe that CCP Spider is like, has actual, stenographer kind of like skills. I don't think he's actually, exactly.
He doesn't.
But cutting corners and not actually paying for like a professional stenographer for a couple of days is apparently too hard for CCP.
Hold it. Why do you need a stenographer?
You can just record the thing and then write it down after the fact. It's not.
I mean, I know, but like at least that person does it like professionally and can put it down quick.
Interviews. If INN can manage it, anybody can.
That really is a very good point.
Yeah. I don't know.
The way
but
INN does interviews is we record it and write it down later, and people appear to like that. So
it works.
The way I do interviews.
Apparently, recording audio isn't a thing that CCP can do.
The way I do interviews,
Maybe
I do it over Discord.
When Craig works and Discord works, right?
Yeah.
I do interviews over Discord. I let them type up the messages, and I copy paste their messages, what they've said, so it can be no spin. And it just means that they half the time write the interview themselves. They've done 75% of the work. It's great.
Maybe all of the CSM sort of like summit kind of all the various different meetings need to be done via text to speak.
Yeah, maybe.
Sorry, I'm laughing at Nifty Wolf.
Because that way you'll have the transcript there straight away.
Okay, yeah. Eric's got it.
Here's
right.
Here's how you fix the cassette player right here. This little thing called a
God.
pencil.
Yeah, that 20% dev time wasn't enough to fix the cassette player for damn sure.
By the way, I dropped that pencil on the floor and I have a second one. Right? Is it scary that that I have pencils?
No, it suggests that you have forward planning skills, which is obviously something that CCP lacks significantly.
You should run a workshop to CCP and have them pay you like a shit ton of money for it.
I'm down for that.
Yeah,
no, I actually would. I actually would. I mean, we've said this before, man. There's going to be, Vegas, right? The bar's going to be camped 24/7 by a bunch of people. So, CCP can mosey on down, sit right up next to us. We'll talk to them like everybody
like
else.
actual people.
Here we rant, right? Here we rant. I mean, when you're in the virus, I mean, you're just shooting the shit, right? That would be great. And by the way,
does anyone else
my biggest takeaway from the minutes, forget all the bad stuff that we heard, was encouragement from, and I forget if it was a nominate or Merkelchen or who it was. I don't remember. That's how important it was, right? No, I don't remember who said it, but it was one of those folks, I think. CCP needs to start playing in nullsec, big nullsec alliances.
I think that was a point that was brought up multiple times. Actually, yeah. I remember seeing Aerith talk about it. I remember seeing Nominate talk about it. You know, it's that idea that, hey, if CCP are actually allowed by company policy to play in nullsec on the strategic level, on the metagame level, they will understand a hell of a lot more about what the fuck is going on in the game.
Yeah, but seriously, who listens to those guys, right? They're high-sec puppies.
Right, and Ronnie, and address Ronnie Hugo, we all know the history, at least I think most of the people, at least on the show, right, absolutely are familiar with why they don't play in nullsec and what happened there. But
yeah, but like the T20 incident happened about a decade ago at this point. You know, and it is obvious now that CCP have no fucking clue what they're doing. They don't actually understand the way people play this fucking game. And that's concerning to us all. We haven't quite reached acceptance in the stages of grief. We're all at anger. And we're all at anger for very good reason. We still give a shit. I actually still give a shit about this game, despite the fact that the reason I give a shit is sunk cost fallacy.
We want to believe.
That's actually a way better point than you might realize.
Yeah, show that fucking image, Eric. Get on it. We want to believe.
Yeah, I don't have it in this one. No.
I want to give CCP money.
Give me a second. It was in the 3-man version. This is the 4-man version of the page. Hold on, give me a minute.
The big thing is people are saying like, oh, the T20.
There we go.
We can't risk CCP devs being on one side and possibly injecting a biasm or pumping up one side. Right, okay. Here's why I'm pushing back against that. I don't think one dev giving how many Tech 2 BPO originals onto any side apart from the Imperium is going to tip the war in either favor.
Oh, but it will create drama, right? At least T20 created a lot of content and a lot of drama. Maybe that's what we needed. It's better than Blackout.
But missed.
Eric, back.
It wouldn't be the same thing. It wouldn't be T2 BPOs. It would be something else. Then first off, they're not going to make the same exact mistake, and second, what's valuable has changed.
I just wanted to quickly ask Eric, like, we did moderation on a Just Survive server like ages ago, right?
Yeah.
What was the worst way that we did the moderation? Was it when we were really closed off, or when we were really open about stuff?
The worst way when you're closed off.
Exactly. Right. So if you are open and transparent about what CCP, where CCPs are and what they're doing, like day to day kind of thing, even if it's not like minute to minute, right? It's not even if it's not like showing what they're doing minute to minute, like at this exact kind of time, but like maybe a day, maybe 2 days, sort of ahead time kind of thing. Then people will know that like there isn't some dodgy shit going on. But if you have them in the sort of in the shadows, then people will start to kind of people will and do kind of like tend to think that there might be shady shit going on. The only reason why they don't at the moment is because it's so fucking secret.
That's a really, really good point there. Like the idea that, hey, all we want, we have this idea of a vision in the CSM minutes that, hey, no actual vision was communicated, no plan occurred. At the moment you introduce some sort of rational idea the moment you actually talk about, hey, this is where we're trying to go, and this is what we're doing to try and get there, people will understand a hell of a lot more. We
Dirk,
just
I love
want some
how- I love how
fucking
already-
communication here. We
Dirk,
want
you
some
completely missed it.
talking.
Dirk, you completely missed the vision in the minutes. Hilmar
Oh,
laid it out.
I missed the minutes. I missed the vision. What
You
did I
did.
miss?
I
It's a-
read
it's-
it 3 times. I saw
it's-
no vision.
Well, what
It's
did
the
I
rain
miss, Arendis?
dance.
Oh, the
Oh, right.
rain.
The vision is the
dance.
rain dance.
The vision
the
is the
vision
rain
whether or not.
Hold it,
you
hold
know,
it, hold it.
Everybody in Nullsec
Hello?
has to get together
Yeah.
and
Pocahontas, we need a rain dance. Can you work on
everybody
that for
in
us?
Nullsec has to get together and do a Titan conga line throughout Nullsec in order to get them to fix things.
Don't joke with that.
We-
Just
we
do
did
it.
do
Don't
the-
joke with
What?
it. Just do
you
it.
know what? I will go and try and figure out that conga line if that's what they fucking need.
Once the
I will
conga
spend
line,
time as a diplomat finding that fucking conga line if that's what they need. I want it.
Put it on a
Please, I
It's
24
gotta,
hour
believe.
it's
stream.
gotta go. It's gotta work through.
got to go
games.
all the way around. Yeah, it's got to go all the way around.
Hello, yes, is this the big red boat? Yeah, we need a Titan conga line.
Everybody's
yeah.
calling. I'm
It
sitting
needs
going.
to go
Hello,
all
is this-
the way.
Is this RE Gold? Yeah, we need all the peyote to Iceland. Yeah, thanks.
I think he's out, to be honest. I think they
The thing
already
is,
ordered it.
didn't we assemble a Titan conga line before we went off to war? Wasn't that
Uh-huh.
something we
No,
assembled?
but it
that
wasn't
did-
all
Oh, the fire
around
side.
Nullsec.
Yeah.
Oh, here comes the real anthropology, right, Arendis? It was the conga line that summoned the drifters.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, hold it. That's the other thing that scares the fuck out of me in these minutes, right? Is they said, yeah, we want to do more things like the drifter invasion. We think that was good. We just had a bug or two, and it really wasn't communicated well. But we should do
Okay.
more
Just
of that.
just
I'm
had
sitting
a
there
bug
going,
or two.
Anybody who fucking thinks they need to do more of that needs to get the fuck out.
Well, okay,
right.
so
Uh,
they
It did
tested out.
have a bug or two.
They
That's
tested
accurate.
out the drifter
One or
stuff,
two. That's
all right?
all.
All of the stuff for the drifters, they tested that out before they did that for us. All right, but they tested it out for like 2 days, a week apart, because it was separated by reinforcement timers on a bunch of citadels in one system, and both days there was a dev at the controls the whole time.
You forgot one point there. It was in high sec.
And it was in high sec. But so the testing conditions, like for what they tested, it worked really well. But that's not what they used it for. It's like saying, okay, so I've got this Volkswagen Bug and it works really well to get me from the train station and back. So, I'm going to take it into the Indy 500.
I think you mean
Yeah.
a Fiero.
That really is the situation. Like, I'm
Dope.
one of those people who spent 20 plus hours at
You
the fucking
did
keyboard.
not. I wasn't witness to that. No.
I mean, where's total newbie? He'll witness that.
No.
that statement.
Don't you remember? It's like it came in the morning. Like, Dirk, are you still here? What the fuck are you doing? Were you up all night? Holy
exactly. Hi, I'm that fucking moron, and
Yes, you are.
still, they think this is a good idea. I'm
So-
one of the morons that was probably the
Dirk-
most affected by this thing.
Can we-
Dirk, you
can
and
we-
11 other people that handled the entire
Yeah.
thing across 3 regions. This was engaging gameplay.
Oh, it
at
was
its finest.
fantastic. I loved it. I really wanted to be delirious at that point.
Did
they
you
really
en-
helped me out that.
Did
Stop.
you enjoy the hallucinations that the lack of sleep actually occurred?
Oh no,
had on you?
that's not. I didn't hallucinate.
You know
Oh,
what?
You weren't trying hard enough
he's-
then.
All
He's
that
lying.
happened was, and here's the whole
Exactly.
conversation, guys.
You
Were
guys know
really up
when
all
everyone
night?
thinks
Hold on.
you think that CCP keeps getting blamed for being Gargoons. It's actually not Gargoons. It's just Gur Arendis and Gur Dark.
They
And
just
they're
no,
getting
no,
hit every
they
single time.
They love us.
I actually,
They-
I actually have commented to Fozzie on one of those threads about, listen, dude, I know you fucking hate me. And his response was, no, I most certainly don't. I don't hate anybody, so I know he's lying.
No, you
dealt with Ozzy.
you misunderstand it, Randus. Like you misunderstand it. They actually really, really, really love goons, right? But the thing is, they can't show favoritism, so they have to be hard on you,
But we can
Right.
test
The only,
it.
and the thing is, goons know this, and that's the reason why we're hard on them, because we love them so much.
We can test it, right? If we get Arendis and Dirk to move into Highsec with Aerith, Nom, and Merc, right? And play Care Bear up there and leave goons. If they still start hitting goons, we know that was not the cause. If they start hitting Highsec, it's proof.
It's all us, yeah, for sure.
We might wind up accidentally leaving an alt or two in goons, and that's what they're hitting goons for.
I mean, I've got my alt.
You know why?
I
we
mean,
never evac them from Declan, and all their supers are still in Declan, all the CCP members, so they're pissed.
Yeah.
Dark.
In chat as well, like Noisy
That's
Gamer.
high and dry.
In chat, Noisy Gamer's saying that Fozzie is Canadian. He's not allowed to hate anyone.
That's not true. Canadians are allowed to hate people. They just have to apologize for it.
Can we, before we go down a rabbit hole, can we just back up and go over the high-sec testing again for the drifters?
All right, sure.
So if you watch the scope video, obviously this is all the second-hand knowledge that's been passed to me. Feel free to step in and correct me if I go wrong. So there was a scope video about the ARC research facilities getting dunked on by the drifters.
Right.
Now that was a role-playing scenario event, an in-game testing event that was being used to test the drifter AI. And the situations for that was the ARC group, which is all right. So I will say I like ARC. They do fantastic work. They did amazing work for the Abyss when we were first finding out about it. And I don't think this is their fault. The fault lies with CCP.
Oh yeah, you can't drop the blame on
The players are just playing. They're not.
Yeah. So what happened is ARC was presented with this thing. They got this role-playing event situation where the drifters started attacking their structures, and they had a GM on hand to help and watch it. And in the situations that they had was that they lost all the engagements because they're not PvPers. These drifters were using like PvP tactics. Like you had to also high sec. You can't fire bombs. You can't do the double web scram trigger on the stacks when your bombs are going in damage to nuke the entire field. You don't have access to those tools in high sec, and that's the tools that the defense team, very wellly theory crafted and implemented to be able to repel the drifters.
It also got complicated because at one point CCP tossed in a bunch of Sancha diamond rats.
Yeah, it was all,
and then some trigs as well. It went really weird.
It was exciting on paper. The issue is that what they took away from it, they said, was this a good event? And ARC liked it, yeah, because they got to roleplay all of this. They got to roleplay it all on the forums. To them, it was great gameplay, and I think, yeah, good. The issue is, however...
Additionally, ARC did not see 20 plus hours of continuous drifter attacks that had to be repelled. They didn't see what it turned into.
Once the GM or dev, depending on which day it was, I think at one point it was actually a CCP or not an ISD. But once they were done and like just the timing of it meant that they had to go because they're in frickin' Iceland and those drifter fleets.
Eric, that's not exactly the kind of image I want to have in my head. All right.
The drifter fleets just kind of hung around the system aimlessly, and they could just pick them off, no problem. So it was. ARC
problem
was
is
a good time, but the event that ARC was playing in was aimed at their play style and a very different one than what we got.
Yeah. So we went. They then said, right, green light. ARC liked it. The focus group liked it. Let's roll with it. When in reality, when they implemented it across the nullsec, it was frustrating. The main thing is, after the 20 odd hours of all of this actual bullshit, and there's no other way to explain it, it didn't actually result in any citadels or any structures actually getting destroyed. And that's the bad part, which is you've had all this stress, you've had all this issue, But if you think about it, it's like
the fact that the structures didn't die was the bad part.
That's the thing. Like you can't.
Okay, miss.
No. Right. Let me finish. So you come out of this situation with your head held high because you were able to repel the Drifter menace. You were able to push them back. You were able to save goons for another day. The issue is the people who sat in their ass with the fingers up their bums didn't lose anything. They lost a couple of flex structures, yes, because of the vulnerability windows and how they opened up. But we could have all sat with our fingers up our ass, not have to worry about any of this, and we would still be in the same position we would. We wouldn't have lost any structures. That's the issue.
Fair point, actually.
Because we are... Sorry, I've just completely walked into an elite zone on World of Warcraft.
No, that's a very good point. That there were no real consequences. To
it's like
beyond to our mental health.
I'm sorry.
Like,
between this now and Rain last night on Open Comms, I mean, I think that just really encapsulates what's going wrong now and what the big problem is here, because we've got so now we're talking about at least 4 hours of stream, including this one, right? That's ostensibly about, so EVE Online and the CSM minutes just came out, and sorry, hang on a second, WoW Classic.
Oh, by the way, and to stack on from that, the Atlas servers were wiped last night in case anybody wants to establish a new commentary.
Wait, what?
What? Me, McLeod, you knew this already. Anyway,
shut up.
By the way, Tender Tacos subscribed for 2 months on their tier 1. Thank you.
All right, but
thank you to
it's time for me to
all right
pop out for the meeting. So I'm gonna screw up all your video work there, Eric.
If maybe.
So wait. If I come in, if you leave and I come in,
there you go.
You ready?
Pop it in.
Are you ready?
I'm ready. Go.
1, 2, 3, go.
It's not going to work. It's not going to work. You think it's going to work? It ain't going to work.
RJ, you actually got to send something, but it did work technically because that's RJ's feed from XSplit, so it technically worked.
Hey! And now RJ is horrendous. RJ is horrendous.
Dude, how the most cleanest switch over ever, except for the little XSplit thing.
How are you doing? Surrogate horrendous?
As you know, I'm a beast. I'm horrendous.
You have to facepalm.
Facepalm every now and again, yeah, for sure.
There you go. Got it.
So,
beautiful.
It actually worked.
But guys, can we talk about something really, really important here?
Are you trying to drag us back to the minutes?
I don't
Oh, here we go.
Please don't.
Just for a very short moment. Can we have a minute of silence for the Alliance tournament?
Oh God, yes.
Oh, Jesus Christ! I can't believe you're bringing that up.
No, seriously. Minute of silence for the Alliance tournament.
Okay. Bow your heads and pray. All right, is that long enough? Somebody typed in a key.
Shut up!
It's dead, Jim.
Eric can't even manage a minute. He's got to type something out or drop something.
No, I wasn't typing. It wasn't me. I was looking for my crazy strap. Drink.
But
might as well just carry on.
Guys,
at this point, the tournament's dead. It's dead, Jim, and I feel really. I mean, anybody who's read any of my articles on INN ever will understand that I'm actually really distraught on this topic. The fact that the Alliance tournament is
we
dead
lost RJ.
Don't do anything. Don't do anything. Don't do anything. I'm good.
Yeah.
I kind of like that mist sort of picture is basically just his hair.
It's pretty hilarious, to be honest.
He's got the come back there. Okay, I pressed the wrong button. My bad.
Too far.
But yeah.
Oh look, I found Arendis' nameplate. Isn't that awesome? He's gone.
You found Arendis.
just in time.
Can you find RJ's nameplate?
I was looking for RJ's. I'm like, oh shit, I do have Arendis' nameplate. Damn.
But yeah, there is a point at which I would have to go in and actually figure out which session it's in. But Yeah, there's a point in the minutes where the Alliance tournament and consequently any other player tournament just gets murdered.
Yeah, that's the thing here. Like the last chance for Anger Games coming back was them fixing the fucking tournament tools for the AT.
I mean, it's not just Anger Games, right? It's the Event Collide stuff. It's the stuff that Jintown was doing earlier on this year with I can't remember the name of it, but I've got Discord channels and stuff for that.
Right.
Yeah,
Well, Jintown's tournament thing. Yeah, I get it.
The Invitational, actually. That's basically what it was called. It was
under the section of community
Stream Fleet
support.
Invitational. And so the Stream Fleet Invitational is dead. The Anger Games is dead. Event is dead. The Alliance tournament itself, CCP's own tournament, is dead. What are they doing at this point to help
just so you know,
play the way we want to?
Just so you know, the section is called community support, which really should be renamed what community support.
What community support? That they don't know what it takes.
Oh no,
to support
I get.
nowadays.
I just realized what they meant. Like, it's not the support that they're giving the community, because if you read what they say, what's being talked about,
it's the
support the community are giving to them. Yeah, that's the one. There you go. Let's put it this way. Looking at it the wrong way.
If CCP can't understand that this is a massive marketing tool and sets them apart from other games like WoW and other things, then they really have a short sight.
Eric, like seriously, they don't even understand their own game, and yet they put 80% of their devs on explaining their own game they don't understand to new players, and then wondering why they all fuck off after an hour.
And think about this, right? One of the recurring themes is we don't mention corporations in the new player experience because we consider them outside of the main game.
The game.
A corporation is an in-game construct. It's part of your fucking game, CCP.
Yeah. And then the best part is, later on they say, well, corporations are actually the best tool to keep new players in the game. Like, there you have... Which
is entirely the reason why they're putting 80% of the devs into new player experience, because it's the organizations outside of the game
So that's like what we said a couple weeks ago. Instead of having that damn agency window right up in your face, put the damn corp recruiting one right in their face when they come in. And then you said it again today, and like that needs to happen if they want to keep these kids in,
there needs to be ways to actually better recruit people.
Established corporations want new players just like everybody else. I have never heard a veteran of this game say, we don't want new people in here.
I mean,
everyone says we want new people in here and we want to help teach them about the game.
I don't know. I've definitely heard of like new players being basically like, shit on by elite PvP groups. Let's put it that way. But that's back in the day.
I don't even know how to. Well, I don't even know how to reload my guns. I'm not elite PvP.
You don't need to reload your guns. It doesn't use ammo, dude.
They already mentioned that they have data on the corporations that take people in, or even alliances, corporations, or whatever, that take these new kids in, and those ones actually get to stay. Well, why don't they just put some CCP backing behind those particular ones and say, hey, here's some feeder corps for you that are going to actually keep you in the game and teach you something.
Yeah, but you have a challenge with that, and I understand why CCP doesn't want to do that, because you don't want to seem like you have some sort of preference to certain corps and alliances. That's something.
So let's be nice for just a second, because they actually just asked for player submissions of corp adverts and shit like that, right? So they are aware of this in some sense.
Well, how fucking long?
We have a corp advert up all the fucking time. The fact that they don't mention our corporations are like guilds in every other game that you play in their new player experience. They completely obliterate or remove reference to corporations and organizations in their new player experience is stupid.
I just want to say that like there is a long-standing meme that is basically that, which is Reddit is recruiting, right?
I mean, Karma is recruiting.
Come on.
Yeah,
I mean,
Penn is recruiting.
Penn is recruiting.
Bend is also recruiting.
We love new people.
I do agree.
I miss. By the way, Eric, I miss all of you for this past month. I'll be back this month, hopefully.
Good, because we're
I
trying
do
to circle
agree
jerking all by
in
ourselves.
some parts of Eve that you do had these toxic groups and these toxic communities where people did want to stay away, and it would be dangerous. And CCP was presenting people saying, "Hey, join these groups," and they turn out to be all those toxic groups.
Yeah, I
It's
understand
almost
why
like-
they don't say specific groups, but what isn't
like-
is we encourage people to get involved in corporations because corporations have a base of knowledge that can help you advance through the ranks in EVE Online better. The other thing that CCP lacks, or EVE Online lacks, and one of the challenges, which I got to tell you, in the freaking 10 plus years that I've played this game, has never even entered my mind, is the lack of progression through levels, right? The progression in EVE Online is, can I fly the bigger, cooler, better ship, right? And with their shitting on supers and titans and capitals, they kind of shit on what is the greatest leveling prospect of all time. And then they bitch that there's too many super and capital pilots, but hey, you know what? And Rorqual pilots, hey, skill point injection, guys. You created the monster.
You did this.
It wasn't... Corpse and players and Nullsec didn't create any of this bullshit that you say is wrong with the game. The only people who created things wrong with the game are CCP. And that's
This is because CCP seem to not understand their own game and their own economy and ecology, right? And this also shows in the minutes. Just to paraphrase what Dirk McGirt was saying, because of course we were looking forward to actually reading this, and personally I was looking forward to hearing Aerith talk about the economy and point out some things to CCP. So I was reading.
Here we go. The economy section has nothing.
Seriously, the economy section is a fucking joke. Seriously, yes, I used the F-bomb.
I mean,
let me finish. It is a page
Hey, this
and
is
a
a
half.
family.
It is a page and a half in the supposedly most complicated economic simulator game out there. How can you have one page and a half in the series in minutes?
Caleb, it could be that the majority of what they talked about was omitted. It could have been redacted. But I would also say, that
it starts out really great. Fozzie is leading the meeting,
saying.
And then I just go facepalm. And Dirk McGirt just said there is no economy in there. If you are looking for anything resembling economy in there, the only thing in there is a few quotes from Aerith. Everything else is just nonsense and worthless.
I did want to point out that one of the one CCP in the entire thing that was possibly the one that kind of gave me at least a little bit of hope with regards to people regards to CCP understanding at least a little bit of their responsibility, because we kind of moved on to the economy kind of thing, but before we were talking about their responsibility, right, was CCP dev that probably people haven't really heard of before, called CCP Muppet Hunter.
Well, let's just say that I am praying that when they move to the new offices just in the center of the fucking university, that they will actually talk to the financial and economic department there, because maybe they can find some people, even just some interns, to help them actually figure out how their game works.
There have been various people who've mentioned in the last 24 hours to me that, hey, for the cost of the alcohol it would require to fuel me through this period, they would do the economic stuff for CCP. That's the question. Hey, are CCP willing to pay enough to fuel people through alcohol for a weekend?
Alcohol is cheap.
They spent like 50 grand to go sit naked in a hot tub with some guy and talk about quote Gandhi. So,
I mean, that's a serious
expensive,
point.
Man. I don't see.
No. That's actually a serious point. They spent 50 grand to go to somebody's house and sit naked in a hot tub, but they can't afford 30 grand to make the Alliance tournament happen, which is a thing that actually affects more
Okay.
than 1,000 players.
Because the thing
more
is,
than
it
1,000
requires
players.
because it
and it's not
requires
worthwhile.
skill to do, and sitting in a hot tub doesn't require skill.
No, it requires dev time, which 80% of that, let's remember, is being spent.
Oh, actually,
Hold on. Wait, so what you're saying is you've got 30 grand that is capitalizable and 50 grand, which is in a marketing expense. So, yeah, I would definitely spend the 50 grand over the 30 grand.
See, it's like the 80% is the dev time. The other 20% is the actual clothes that they weren't wearing. So,
Hey, just somebody give Hilmar a fucking towel, please. Somebody, anybody. Jesus.
He broke the first rule in the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, man. He forgot his towel. No towel.
It gets cold. You know what I'm saying?
If you're in a hot tub, you're not cold, but anyway.
I think he's cold. I'm hoping.
But isn't it really telling, right?
For his
that the Iron End's webpage have more economic content for this entire period, right? Just from breaking down MER and discussing what it's actually saying, than is in the minutes. It's screaming something is wrong in there.
Hey, as it turns out, we give a shit, Caleb. Like,
yeah, that's right.
We spent days drunkenly arguing about whether or not the fucking. I mean, I'd have to go back and look at the articles, but we were talking about whether or not the idea of whether or not ISK velocity, not ISK velocity. The graph that they show, which is the amount of active ISK in the game,
is delta.
Is delta. Whether or not that actually is impacted by people coming back to the game for login events. We spent an hour on that topic.
Yeah, and the irony is
has CCP spent an hour on that topic?
I doubt it. I think if you said velocity of ISK in that meeting, the only two people in there that would actually know what you were talking about would be Aerith and maybe actually Hilmer, if you remembered what that is.
I wonder how many people would have thought, like, is that in regard to, like, how much plex you have in your cargo hold and how fast your ship is going at that particular point?
Yeah,
maybe.
No, yeah, absolutely. So I want to say, Noisy points out, was anyone concerned that they didn't pull data about the blackout until the morning of the meeting at the beginning of September? Okay.
Concerned, yes. Surprised, no.
No.
Yeah, that's really the thing.
They don't care.
Okay? I don't think they don't care. I just don't think that they have the staff to be able to utilize. I don't think they have the staffing for it.
Nope. I don't think that they cared about those stats at all because they knew they didn't mean anything. They couldn't meet the KPIs because everything was so fucking muddied. And by the way, I think going pure off the emotional. Do players love it?
I think it's more fundamental than. I think it's more fundamental than. I think it's more fundamental than that, Eric. I think they literally didn't actually have the communication between the various different teams to realize that this information might be good to actually have before the and crunch before the actual CSM. Summit. And I think the miscommunication was when the CSM summit was.
King Aries in Twitch chat has it pretty fucking right, to be honest.
Okay,
he's saying it's not about caring, it's about they didn't want to be wrong. And what do you want to talk about beyond that? Like, CCP don't want to be wrong. They don't want to listen to...
Yeah, you can't be wrong about your analytics of the data if you didn't analyze the data.
Exactly.
Yeah. So
exactly, missed.
So
when you do things that cause your players to leave your game and spend less, I let accounts lapse, right? Not because I wanted to hate the game, just because I'm not using them, right? And I'm not. Yeah. And by the way, I don't mind. I haven't mind since the blackout was lifted. I mine when I want to hang out with my court mates and bullshit and have a good time. That's why I mine. If I really just wanted ISK in a game, I can just buy Plex and magical ISK appears, right? But But I mean, so I'm not a miner. I'm not a ratter. The only reason, it came across me today. I'm like, I can go and.
What am I?
No, because I'm using one of my characters jumping around doing things, right? And I'm like, holy shit. That's right. I have a character that's like -10. The only way to get him away from that is if I heavily rat with him here in nullsec, right? So don't forget, ratting just isn't about gaining
you could
ISK.
buy
It's
tags.
lowering.
You could buy tags.
I could buy tags, but I don't want to. Okay, and I don't want to rat. I don't want to do either of those things to lower my security thing. But if I'm going to do one, I'm going to do the one that gets me ISK. And, by the way, I can sit around on comms and bullshit with my buddies. So now I got to, do the whole ratting thing, right, on one or two of my characters because they're just flashy red all the time, right? So, I mean, I'm just sitting there going, I need to do this, or, hey, Atlas wiped its servers. I can go play that today. But, yeah.
Wait, what?
Mm-hmm. Atlas wiped the servers. Yeah.
I mean, I'm going to bring up a game that hasn't been talked about at all on this show.
Asheron's
NBA
Call?
2K20?
Asheron's Call? Is that the one you're talking about? Asheron's Call?
No.
That's a great game. That's a great game.
No, Escape from Tarkov. It has its 0.12 patch in a couple of weeks. It's going to be a hell of a lot of fun.
Cool.
There's going to be a bunch of us playing, and as it turns out, when I'm playing Escape from Tarkov, I'm not playing EVE Online.
I just want to say, I mean, as much as we lambast like CCP and EVE Online, right? At least EVE Online isn't NBA 2K20.
Well, another one of my thoughts this morning, right? As I'm, doing my morning ritual, I sat there and said, okay, I remember, and I just mentioned Asheron's Call, so I don't know how many people played that back in the day and whatever. But eventually, toward the end of its life, Asheron's Call said, hey, I'm going to let you pay so much of the in-game currency to have a place you call your own and store your own shit and be able to lock it down and have more than you can carry. So they gave us little houses and mansions and things like that we could build and decorate and do all this shit with, right? So that was kind of the beginning in that area of, I actually own a place somewhere on the map, right? So when you look at what CCP has done with the game from a perspective of nullsec, owning space, having a place to call your own, and things of that, the market that is generally free market driven and all that stuff, CCP has all the elements that everybody has always wanted in their MMO. And
But they can't actually act on it. Yeah.
Exactly. It is as if they are actively trying to shoot themselves in the foot. They have what all the MMO players have always said they wanted, right? And when they give the players that thing, and this is my big beef, everybody who says nullsec shouldn't be that safe. Guess what, guys? Nullsec should exactly be as safe as the people who own that space make it.
And make it. Yeah.
Okay?
Exactly.
So
we
if
put a ton of time into that. Fuck
right.
it.
So if Delve is going to be safe, it's because people are playing the game to make it safe. Right?
If they want that stuff freaking gone, they
Right.
should kill Concord and HiSec.
Right. So when people say nullsec isn't meant to be safe, no, nullsec was meant to be the country
As safe as
that you
players made
created
it.
Right?
Yeah.
There are parts of nullsec that will not be safe. And
There are. Providence, is one of the big things at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
Tribute, Pureblind. There are places in nullsec where you can go and have as much conflict as you fucking want.
And if
you come to Delve, a lot of people have tried to make Delve safe. We put effort into making Delve safe.
Yeah, it's a fucking day job. There's people actually standing by to do just that.
And that's one of the funnest things I like to do is sitting there waiting to go frickin' save somebody. It's like playing Delve Police. And if they're like, hey, you can't have that umbrella, well, then you should get rid of the Concord umbrella, too.
Right.
That shouldn't matter.
It's more the fact that CCP needs to iterate on the design so it's more meaningful, right? But the players will make it exactly as safe as they can. So if they start nerfing it and tweaking it and designing something that's more engaging, fine. It's still Delve is still going to be the safest null space.
Well, one of the things that I really would advocate for is, hey, supers and titans can't actually apply damage to subcapitals. That's fine. As it turns out, we'll still have a bunch of people who turn up in harpies or jackdaws or munins and eagles or megathrons. We have more people. We have more brains to throw at a problem. We can create these situations regardless of whether or not super capitals are the best thing in the game.
Right.
And you don't create a point of failure for null by chasing away your player base. That's really not a fucking solution.
No.
According to CCP it is.
And by the way, so if there's a small group who wants to make one system in, let's just say, Quirius, right? Let's just say Patriotic Tendencies wanted to say, hey, we want one system in Quirius, and we're going to make it super safe with our 50 capitals or whatever the fuck we want to do.
You can't have space in Quirius, but
I know.
Carry on.
I'm just making shit up, right?
Carry on.
No, I'm just saying, if a small
Yeah, no,
group
I'm just
wanted
saying
to
I'm
make...
triggered by you saying that.
Triggered. And we said, hey, we're going to, say, hey, we're part of the Imperium, whatever. We understand whatever limitations you are, but we just want our guys to have one system and we're going to hang out there, right? Small groups can make all the same diplomatic arrangements that a larger group can make. All they got to do is reach out and say, I want to do X. Okay? And negotiate. I'm not saying that the Imperium's going to let shit like this happen. I'm just saying you have the opportunity to negotiate and grow bigger. Okay?
No, it's a really good point, actually. A lot of these conversations rely upon compromise as it happens. We will give a little, but there are certain points we won't go beyond. The people we're talking to will give a little, and there aren't points that they'll go beyond. But somewhere in the middle, there is an agreement that could be made, potentially.
Right. I'm not advocating this. I'm just giving like an example. Any major block could technically do this, right? And go ahead.
You know what?
Yeah, they can definitely.
Ronnie Hugo has it in Twitch chat again. Small groups basically have a one-man base situation, one guy doing almost everything, and then he burns out and the group dies. So all groups end up in large groups. Groupings are how people fucking work, to be honest. We're talking about the move from villages to towns to cities at this point.
If you only have one guy, right? If you only have one guy to do that job, you're not ready to go into null. Seriously, that's just a mistake.
Do you know what really helps with basically helping that one person that's doing all the various different things? Do you know what helps significantly with dealing out responsibilities? Trust.
Yeah, and when you have a system of this and when you have a system where everyone is asking for CCP to make things easier and something that single people can do instead of actually sharing the load, right? That's what they've been doing for the last 6 to 10 years. They've just been making it easier and easier to just do everything with alts and multiboxing instead of actually delegating jobs.
And that's the thing. The issue there, Caleb,
within a corporation are different than the other things.
But the thing is, when it comes to delegating stuff versus doing things with alts, unless you're a schizophrenic, that you can trust yourself. So when you're doing things with an alt, that there's not going to be some kind of serious issue regarding corp theft and stuff. But if you're dealing it out to somebody else, you're not entirely certain. If you could verify stuff, say, for example, verify that someone doesn't have another character on their account in a different alliance or in a hostile alliance, that would help to some degree. That would at least help with the sort of at least some degree of trust whatsoever.
The real problem there, just give me 2 seconds there.
Yeah, go ahead.
The real problem there is that sharing the load that Caleb was talking about. We're here going, hey, as it turns out, I could do all of this. But then that results in myself waking up at fucking 3 a.m. or whatever my time to fuel a structure because nobody else has gone and done it. It's that
Well,
question about
there's
where you share responsibilities and where you don't. How much?
Yeah, where you share responsibilities. Yeah, where you share responsibilities and where you don't is a thing. But like the other thing is, when you share responsibilities out, it means that it can be done when you're not online as well, when you're doing something else. You know, when you're out in real life, which means that things get done. You know, and you're not the single point of failure all the time. I mean, Carneris is in chat basically, you know, does distill it down perfectly. CCP doesn't want us to trust each other, you know, and there's a nice line in the minutes where goblins, and there's a nice line, yeah, would rather us do stuff solo instead. But there's also another line in the minutes as well that Goblin kind of said where like he wants us to be able to like, you know, steal more things or have more, you know, create more opportunities where we can steal more things. Well, to some degree, right, allowing people to trust each other or at least have the capacity to think that they can trust more people actually, you know, it incentivizes more opportunities for people to, you know, to basically to break that trust, right?
And I
so
think
allowing people the ability to verify trust to some degree can even incentivize the ability for people to break that trust.
I think most players in EVE would actually prefer being nerfed a little bit and then get the ability back of actually being benefited from playing with other players instead of using ults, because using ults is so fucking boring. It might
there's
be
also
efficient,
another thing.
It might be efficient and you don't have to worry about trust, but it is not fun gameplay. It completely disrupts and destroys the unique selling point of EVE, that everything has points of failure and everything is playing with other people. That's what most players in EVE prefer.
Yeah, and there's also a big player retention thing with regards to trust. You know, are you going to feel more connected and more integrated and more part of a community if the group that you're playing with doesn't trust you? No.
No, I mean that's the whole. That's the one thing.
If they can verify like that you're not, to some degree or to an extent, right? If they can verify to an extent that you're probably not a terrible spy, right? That's out to basically strip the wallet or strip like resources from the corp. Then they're probably more likely to trust you with stuff, which means that you're probably going to feel more integrated with the community, with the group that you're in.
The organizations
rather than having
that can
to wait.
tolerate being stolen from are larger. And if you enable that too much in smaller organizations, hey, it's only going to be people you know. If you look at penned leadership, it is people that we personally know in real life. We're a 50-man corp, and you're not getting in leadership unless we know you in real life.
Let's not even talk about like penned particularly. Let's talk about.
I use that as an example.
Like I accept that you know
Mini love it.
Let's talk about Mini Love. Mini Love is a group that has people from all around the fucking globe. All right, it has these people in leadership. These are the guys who FC regularly. These are
I just want to point out that we do allow some Canadians in leadership in our corp. Okay,
the Canadian thing is questionable.
True story.
But you know, like Mini Love has had in its history thefts of a few billion ISK, a few 100 million here or there, and they just sort of absorb that because that's part of the risk that you play. You have to be able to absorb risk.
Mm-hmm.
If you can't absorb risk, then why would you do a thing?
But it's not just risk.
It doesn't make sense.
It's a lose condition, right? I have lost my entire wealth 3 times, right? And I've been backstabbed at least twice, right? From people I thought were my friends. I actually, even though it's tough when you experience it, I consider this a fucking feature. This is what this game is supposed to be about.
It's about getting experience.
It's about getting experiences. It's about learning how shit works, how to build organizations, how to build your wealth, how to engage with other people, how to figure out which people you should engage with and which ones you shouldn't, right? This is all gameplay. This is content. right? Instead of this, let's make it safe. Let's remove the ability to be scammed. Let's make it completely safe with ACLs, so there's no points of failure. Let's make sure that no one can ever steal anything from the organization. Let's make sure that you can't have spies because you can check everything with APIs. It's like, come on, guys, you're destroying the unique selling point of the game.
This comes
Or
back
are you
to...
creating other gameplay?
Caleb, the reason why I brought up trust is the fact that I'm not saying that, you know, it should be all automatic and it should be 100% foolproof. I'm saying that, like, you know, pulling the ability to be able to at least verify a little bit, you know, pulling that trust back to the point where people can't trust it, like people can't at least start to trust people, is fundamentally just basically, you know, making more and more aspects of, you know, small and medium-sized groups just burn out because it's all being leveraged by people. It's all of that kind of like responsibility in getting certain critical things done are being leveraged just onto one person because they have to do that because they can't trust other people.
This actually comes back to an idea that CCP have been talking about a lot recently, McLeod, which is perfect intel. You know, perfect intelligence.
This is another. This is exactly the same. Like the second half of the coin, right?
There are a bunch of people who turn around and say local is perfect intelligence, and I wonder what the fuck they're smoking. Because hey, local tells me if a hostile is in local with me. That's great. That's fine.
No, but it doesn't.
He's getting to it. He's getting to it.
There is no idea as to this hostile in local with me. Is he in a bomber? Is he in something that can light a covert cyno? Is he in something that can light a regular cyno in the situation where we have this new
in the post-cyno change world? Yeah.
You know, what are these people actually in? Do I care? A Rorqual pilot does not give a shit about a bomber unless they have a covert cyno on grid. And so there's this idea where I have perfect intelligence because local fucking exists. No, I don't. I don't have perfect intelligence because I don't know what the person is flying. I don't know what their intentions are. I don't even know whether or not they're on the fucking grid with me. It's a stupid idea that perfect intelligence ever exists. And I'm not saying that that doesn't mean that local should be changed. I do actually believe that we should have a delayed local of a minute or 2 minutes, you know, 180 seconds, whatever it turns out to be.
There's definitely something in the minutes about this, which I remember from last night in my haze of rage and such things, regarding local, regarding, you know, basically, I think it was some CCP dev basically saying like that they couldn't envisage some way of basically making essentially essentially making like local work in a way that it means that, you know, if we brought it back entirely, that you know, it would just be botting heaven kind of thing. Like you couldn't do this or couldn't do that because it will be botting heaven. And it's a case of like, well, you know, that you have like Dirk Statil basically saying like, you know, you could delay local, like literal delay local, like you come in to a system, you don't appear in local for a set period of time, and then you do. Like it's something that, like, you know, Dirk pointed out, but has also been pointed out by, you know, really you know, experienced veteran FCs. You know, I know that it was something that
I love
that was
the idea that I am somehow different from veteran FCs, but that's a different point in time.
Well, I mean, I'm talking about Pando specifically, right? Because it was one of his points that he put on Reddit regarding, like, you know, the changes that he would like to make would be a delay in local of about 15 to 30 seconds, something like that.
Yeah, it's something that
it would combat botters ridiculous, like so much better than any change that CCP has talked about in the CSM minutes.
I mean, hey, as it turns out, people are hunting other players. if they can have a 30-second to a minute time frame where they get to hunt botters, you know, I mean, really, this has a significant impact on botters, but it has an impact on anybody. If I don't see you in local for a minute and you're hunting me, you're using D-scan or whatever, you can tackle me before I'm aware you're there. There's a risk factor. But if you take too long, if you can't actually bring in experience to do a thing, then I can escape you before you turn up on grid or what have you. That's a good thing. There's a risk factor, but there's a methodology that mitigates that risk factor as well.
Excuse me, but
there's a compromise that can happen there.
I got a question here.
Well, your question will be answered.
Why are we restricting the gameplay of paying customers, of people playing the game honestly, to make it harder for botters? Not impossible, harder.
Oh, that's absolutely a significant question, Soth. But you know,
I don't think the change is specifically to combat botters. I think
the notes. I think if you look at
I did say that. I did. If you look,
the notes seem to indicate that too. Oh,
if you look at the change, like it is a change that would potentially make, it makes sense from a combat perspective. It makes sense from just developing an opportunity for players to engage with each other.
Yeah, no, I did say that there is a part of that delayed local that would have an impact on botters. And, CCP should be considering these things. CCP should be considering whether or not botters are a significant aspect.
CCP should be designing those anomalies and things so that they're not easy to bot. Period. That solves your botter problem. All this other bullshit is... By the way, I thought that no local would be a cool thing. And when I experienced it, I felt alone and didn't want to play the game. So I'm like, fuck it. I don't like it. But think about this logically. Number one, somebody who comes through a Stargate, guess what? Local's going to know you're coming through the fucking Stargate. Okay? So, and by the way, I just say this for discussion. I haven't even thought it through. It just hit me as we're talking. You come through the Stargate, you're fucking in local. By the way, you're part of the SOV organization that owns SOV. You know about all the anomalies, all the ice belts, all the asteroid belts, all the bullshit. You can see those in your overview. Okay? And if you come through a Stargate and you're not part of that SOV, you don't know where all that shit is, so you can't insta-warp to every anomaly, and you can't insta-warp to the fucking, ice belt and just see if somebody's there. You got to find it and scan it down. Think about this. And if you come through a wormhole...
This is exactly where the whole idea of delay comes in.
Hold on. I'm not worried about delay, but listen to the whole picture, right? You come in through a wormhole, nobody fucking knows you're there, because guess what? You didn't come through any sort of mechanization that might actually understand that you're there, okay? And you don't show up in local. So imagine coming through wormholes, don't show up in local, come through a gate, you show up in local. By the way, you come through any of those two things, you don't know where any of the anomalies, any of the asteroid belts, anything is in that system. Not the citadels, nothing. Okay, not even a fucking Sino. You got to scan everything down. Imagine that as the game mechanic in Null.
I'm kind of liking that.
I would love that kind of mechanic. Unfortunately, that mechanic requires a little bit more dev time than just basically connecting.
Oh wait, it requires dev time.
It requires actually writing code to make your game work.
They have to take that 20%.
We actually have to write things.
Jesus Christ, I wasn't finished, man. Jesus Christ.
Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
It would be great. It just requires more dev time than it requires a lot more dev time than just connecting things to random number generators. So
I mean, it requires more dev time than taking code from another aspect of your game.
Just remember, your jump timer's at 0 when it's really at 10 minutes. I know it's tough. Okay. fucking add a minus
Yeah.
10 in there
Yeah.
somewhere. Somebody. By the way, Lynch, subscribe. Twitch Prime, 22 months. Thank you, Lynch Leet.
Hey,
By the way,
Eric, I gotta run, dude. It's gonna mess up your video.
What the fuck are you doing to me? What are you doing to me? Like, I didn't go
He's
through
I'm about to break
breaking
Jesus
your
Christ.
video.
By the way, just in case
Chaos.
anybody's mad, we're almost we're in like the last half an hour of a two hour run.
I gotta really get.
Go.
You know what?
Get out of here. What do you think I can do?
Actually, you know what? Would you like me to come on video to help?
Nope,
not
we're
break
good. Look at that.
RJ
Look
here?
at that.
There we go. Wait, there we go.
Look at it.
Hey,
Oh, look at that! Like he's a fucking pro.
buttery smooth.
Okay, the only thing is I don't have who's
Shit.
talking, so I'll get the who's talking.
When did we
But-
get this professional? What the fuck is this?
In
No,
the last
this
like
is actually
5
what we-
fucking minutes.
By the way, but he's still RJ, so I gotta fix him. I don't know.
Yeah,
why he's
missed
RJ.
one's RJ
I don't know
now.
why missed is RJ. Okay, you know.
but
There he is.
yeah, it
There
really
we go.
is. It's
All done.
all just horrendously questionable, and
I seriously like that idea I just proposed. Fucking
I
CSM,
like it
you-
too,
I mean,
you know?
CCP, you
I-
listen to that goddamn shit?
I
No,
don't-
there's nobody from
I-
CCP in our chat because they think we hate them.
How-
I would buy them beer.
I don't want to shit on your idea, Eric, and it's a fantastic idea because I came up with it like years ago.
Sorry.
I'm sorry, man. And you
We've
can
known
look it
each other so many years, so we could talk like
you-
that. Go shoot.
Yeah,
no,
yeah.
no, I'm not offended.
You can look it up on the Evo forums if you want.
What?
half of the issue
Is my
that
idea
CCP
somewhere
I-
else?
I
Can
also-
steal it
I-
from someone?
I also FYI also came up with the idea of the UI the ship fitting UI being the what is it the structure fitting UI as well.
If we're doing this right, the actual venture was something I suggested in 2003.
Yeah,
took 10 years.
we're
10
apparently
years.
doing this, but like, here's the deal, really. Like, CCP does not want to listen to the player base because they have this inbuilt assumption that the player base has a bias. The player
There we go.
base always wants to see things that they want in the game. And I'm sat here going, you know what? Nerfing Titans into the ground has a significant impact on my playstyle. It changes the way
It will,
I play
yeah,
the
of
fucking
course it will.
game. But
It-
I'm good with nerfing Titans into the ground if it provides a healthier game where there are more people in fucking space that I can shoot.
Yeah, it's something that's apparently a puzzle to CCP, that the player base is actually willing to be nerfed, even hard, if it improves the game. I read the thing with Rise's response to Exuki's presentation. It's like, do you actually mean that you guys are willing to take a hit on your ISK faucet
Yeah.
if it improves your game? It's like, yes, please.
Oh yeah.
I'll take a hit every day of the fucking week if it makes the game better. Overall.
Just like
Yeah,
when I was actually seriously suggesting that the thing with asset safety, that it should actually be linked to the market stuff, so everything gets asset saved except for stuff that's on market and in contracts. That's shooting my own face, but that would actually be a good feature.
Let's put it this way.
I
Ronnie
just-
Hugo in Twitch chat. Ronnie Hugo in Twitch chat. I don't mind that my Titan can't shoot subcaps if it means that I get to partake in other X-47 style fights with my Titans.
Fuck yeah.
Weird that, right? We
Yeah.
want the game to actually be
Absolutely.
playable.
I
And
just
not this
wanna-
easy mode bullshit.
I just want to point out here that all of us are playing everything but Eve right now. So CCP, you are fine with listening to us because we aren't actually your player base.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a fair point.
Yeah.
That's a really
That's
good
not
point.
true. I still play EVE Online. It's,
I-
Think of us as potential newbies that will come back, and you can treat us well.
By the way, anybody
just
wants to join
think-
patriotic tendencies in Atlas, feel free, hit me up. And by the way, who said Justin whatever Hooby Dooby, who had that guy who had some comments. He's played for 2 months and some stuff. I seriously want to talk to you. Hit me back up with a chat or in game. Eric Space Asmok in the game. Hit me up because I really want to talk to you about your experience in the game, playing for 2 months, right now how it is, and what you're thinking about some of the things we propose, and even some of the things that you're seeing in the game.
Can I
New
just
players,
point out-
I mean,
can I just
it's
add
exciting.
that Shira is pointing out this whole story again, that the Titan is supposed to be some end level goal. That was never the point of the Titan. it was supposed to be a group thing that you actually staged in PvP as a group.
Only one person can own
to be
it.
your little merit badge that you can put on as a hat and sit and spin.
I'm sorry. I disagree with you, Caleb. Anytime you have the biggest ship on the fucking block, it may have had to be a group effort to gather the resources to build it, but it is only one person that can own it. And when people own it and it makes it something important, it makes it a goal for players.
But that's fine. But
there are a lot
I
of them.
say,
now, let's put it this way. As I think Merkelchin said in the notes, the Rorquals should never have been given the abilities that they have to mine the quantities that they do. That was wrong.
And CCP said so at the time, and
that was wrong. We just want people to adopt them. We want whales in space for people to blow up. And guess what? In Nullsec, we're going to make that place safe so that people can mine the shit out of everything so that we're number one. Don't bitch when we use the tools you give us to achieve the goals that we have. And by the way, you were told by the people who are using the mechanics to get ahead not to do it because you're being stupid. Sorry. Soapbox. Sorry.
The other thing is, like, if you actually talk to a lot of FCs, that they love Rorquals. They love the panic module because it allows groups to be able to muster up a defensive fleet, which is a hell of a lot more engaging to fight than just dunking a Rorqual that can't defend itself.
Well, yeah,
right?
I mean, you muster up a fleet. You could have the other guys. Hey, our fleet to attack your Rorquals is just bait. Like, we got something to really dump on you, and we're going to dump your whole capital.
There's nothing wrong with the panic module. If you remove the mining capabilities, there would be nothing wrong with the panic module. If you shifted its utility to be a support ship again, like it used to be, it would be perfectly valid to have a panic module on the Rorqual. It's because it's also a mining ship, and that makes no sense.
Well, here's the thing.
The other thing,
Rorquals existed in the game. Nobody fucking used them. Okay.
Yeah.
And they said, "Hey, we need a purpose." This is where CCP fucks up, right? We need a purpose for this ship. No, you don't. If nobody's using the ship for what you designed it for, maybe it doesn't need to be in the game.
Well, they designed it to be a support ship, but it never got the actual utilities needed to be a decent and useful support ship.
Sure it was. Yeah. We just parked it in a fucking pause and boosted the fleet.
And that was an off-grid thing. That was like an abuse thing. That was not really
if you don't want off-grid things, then you make things be on-grid.
Yeah, that's why they removed it. But the point is that it should be on-grid boosting.
$15 billion
it should be a support ship on-grid. It should both be able to defend, and it should be able to boost yields on the fleet. That's the whole point of that ship. That's what's in the description.
Caleb, I just want to point out that before they changed to on-grid boosting, they actually changed boosting so it doesn't work from inside a POS, except for Rorquals. They actually made an exception for Rorquals because they said that it's integral to the Rorqual to be able to be safe in a POS.
Because it needed a utility, otherwise people wouldn't have it and use it. The point is that they should remake the entire utility of Rorquals and Orcas to make them do what they were supposed to do on paper. But they never got around to actually iterate and fix them.
Well, the reason why it was made the entire time. They halfway go with every design phase that they got, and that's why you have a game with 72 different design phases that are incomplete, that nothing fucking works together. Sorry, soapbox.
Well, you could say that for a lot of various different things in actual fact, because CCP seems to be very, very flaky in terms of whether they actually want to iterate on something.
CCP has a basic concept that is amazing in the MMO genre. Okay?
Oh, yeah.
And the fact that they walk around and say stupid stuff like, we don't get how the game goes and how it works and we have no vision, right? I'm telling you, CCP does not know the fun of a 250-man fleet flying around at the command of an FC, blowing shit up, or having 5 of them moving around. Okay? And by the way, I'm not an FC. I'm just a line member in one of those fleets. Okay? One of my happiest experiences in EVE is being in a, sorry guys, just stop right now before I say this, is being in a boat fleet of fucking harpies, taking down a nag and having boats, very, flamboyant way, I have no other word, of running a fleet and taking down a Naglfar in Cloud Ring, right? Years ago. I'm like, this was just fucking great. It took us forever. It took us forever because we're in harpies.
But the thing is, Boat is an entertainer. He entertains, and so when you're on his fleet, you're entertained. Unless you're one of those people who don't like, don't like his particular brand of entertainment.
Don't fly with him.
Then don't fly with him. Yeah, you're not forced to. Right? But the thing is, he is entertaining. And you can't deny that.
I'm on Sothersil fleets. I love them. I'm on, other people's fleets. I enjoy the giant fleets, and I get it. And by the way, there are things I do as a line member to make sure that I make life easy for the FC and I don't fuck it up for the FC. There's still things, even though you're an F1 pilot, being told what to hit, that you do things and you listen and you pay attention and you're part of a team. Being part of a team is important, and it's gameplay that you don't have anywhere else. CCP fails because they fail to take the things that make their game cooler than every other game out there and make those things amazing. That's where they fail, and that's what upsets us. It upsets us because we see a game with this amazing potential, and then we see some dude sit there, CEO, by the way, I'll hit on Hilmar, saying, we don't understand how it works and we don't really have a vision. Now, he's got the fact that not saying a vision is bad, so in the minutes he says, we have a vision, but he doesn't really lay one out because he doesn't have a vision.
The biggest concern I have is always that everything seems to be a half-baked idea. It feels like CCP is just tugging yourself off a little bit. It's getting exciting, things are happening, but you never get a climactic finish. I literally
really
started
going.
I got into playing World of Warcraft, and
they haven't experienced that great apple reach around cake.
Yes. So going back to the drifter stuff, because something did mention in the chat, obviously, when the drifters were doing the drifting stuff, people didn't know if they were actually going to finish the job or they were just going to tease everybody. If
Are you saying they're being a little bit of a dick tease? Is that where you're going?
They were being a dick tease, and that's the issue.
So to be clear,
if you, we had people spending 20 hours defending this stuff. If push came to shove and the drifters kept on hitting for longer and longer and longer, and stuff actually started blowing up, that would be a wave of you would feel amazing because you saved these structures. You actually managed to achieve something because there was actually a real threat. Because there isn't a threat and there is a threat, depending on if their CCP are actually going to follow through. In this situation, they didn't.
I'll argue one thing. That is a really cool concept, Mist, and I'll give you time to react to this. In maybe low sec and high sec, it's a stupid as fuck concept in null sec. Your thoughts on that one?
So my reaction to that is, if these drifters look to me, they're going to smash up all the structures. They're going to test every structure to see if somebody wants to defend it. And if they went through all of the timers, if they hit them into the armor, they hit them into the hole, and they came back and they smashed them up again and destroyed them. If they were low structures, had been abandoned, they were low power. If that actually happened, that would have been amazing. They cleared down a ton of structures. They've just purged a ton of old structures. Everyone who stood on the fleets to defend the structures, who went on these fleets, who did something, would actually then feel good about themselves because there actually was a threat that people responded to. The issue was that everybody who responded to the drifter threat, everybody who did something to it, their effort was wasted because there never was a real threat in the end. Nothing was going to be destroyed. And I think that hits home because people actually said, "You've done all this fantastic work. You've been defending for hours." It means nothing. Like, you don't get, there is no reward. There is no punishment. There is no reward.
So,
but miss, you missed the real reason why the drifter thing occurred, right? And it's in the minutes. And it's basically, well, CCP needed something to. CCP needed an event to kickstart this whole kind of thing. You know, what that thing is, I have no idea. By the way,
if this is the invasion,
again, I come back
not the invasion. The invasion was before then, but you know, I'm just saying CCP says that they needed something to kickstart this phase, and yeah.
The problem is,
sorry, I'm laughing at Shirar in chat, guys. You know what? I think Concord should go on vacation for 2 weeks every year and just, But think about this.
Sorry, we're out of the office.
Again, Nullsec is where the Imperium goes against the Northern Coalition. They beat the shit out of each other, and that's the danger. Because they can, and they can do anything. Okay? Anytime you inject things like the Drifters, you bring Nullsec fighting each other to a halt.
But yeah, because it's an external threat. Everyone literally stops and
the
goes.
Gameplay, and while maybe logical that they go there, it just doesn't work in the mechanics.
It's like Schrodinger's cat or something. It's going to absolutely destroy your empire, or it's not going to do anything at all. The issue is that you have to respond.
Yeah, think about
you don't know. So
think about another concept. Think about the fact that Keep Stars, as a possibility, Keep Stars can only be anchored at the sun, and Citadels can only be anchored at a moon.
No,
now you have or planet. You could do planets. But anchored at something that's going to limit your sprawl. I like planets better because it limits the sprawl. But you still have to have all the moon mining shit. That would be phenomenal, right? But just think of that.
The problem with that is CCP openly said, "Well, I can't find this, but I know they said that they wanted these big cities in the sky. They wanted everything clunked together."
Yeah, they wanted sprawl. They wanted
sprawl in the cities. And how could you arrange one DQ to fit in those regulations? You wouldn't.
You couldn't fit Delve in those regulations. Delve
you
probably
can't.
has more Citadels than it has planets.
Yeah.
Here's the thing.
So yeah, go ahead.
You are doing the same thing that CCP keeps doing. You're trying to make rules to solve the problems. Don't do that.
Okay.
Instead, let the player solve the problem.
Oh, I'm saying I would have done this in the very beginning. Forget where they are now.
Yeah, no. Just change asset safety in nullsec to a way that it drops random stuff, like it does on ships. Like when a ship gets destroyed, there's a 40% chance for everything to drop.
Whatever it is.
Do that on Citadels as well.
Unfortunately, Soth, that requires dev time. Unfortunately,
I'm sorry, we can't consider that, Soth. Too much dev time.
It's very costly in dev time to implement.
Yeah.
So
forget that we can capitalize the expense.
It doesn't really,
it
doesn't. Yeah.
No. Think about this. Soth, you're not allowed to make comments like that anymore. Okay, and the reason is, I'm going to give you the reason, right? You're not, because you live in nullsec, okay? Unlike Merkel Chen and Aerith, who are highsec people, apparently. From the
highsec puppies, yeah.
So you're not allowed to say that because nullsec only wants to protect its own assets and be super safe. They never actually want to incur any risk, so I'm not sure that you're being genuine with your comment. Would you care to comment on my comment on you? It's going to be like, fuck you, Eric. That's going to be the comment. No, by the way, what you proposed...
you have to say, repeat the question, please.
Yeah, no. What I'm saying is, nullsec people aren't supposed to want to be less safe, right, according to everybody under the sun, and I'm just kind of trying to be a little bit funny with it. What Soth says is forces people to protect their structures or massively evacuate them, right?
It also,
and incur risk in the evacuation, right? It makes perfect sense.
It also gives people an incentive to shoot structures.
Yes.
And on the other hand, it creates drama when people start stealing the loot. So you got everything Eve is about in this simple change.
To be fair, I definitely shot a few goons that were stealing loot out of rage. Just saying.
By the way, Sherrar, yes, there can be puppies or anybody not in the Imperium. Okay.
I shot, blew up ships and potted goons that were looting stuff when they shouldn't do.
You're telling, like, I know you were joking.
Right, I was very much.
But this wouldn't even take a lot of dev time because you already have this fucking mechanic in wormhole space.
You already have the code, okay? Yeah.
Text back.
By the way, asset safety for any Citadel, I'm just like, why are you putting that in? And the reason I think CCP put it in was because he said, same with the Rorqual, super powerful because we don't think anybody will do it. We don't think people use Citadels if their shit's not safe because everything's safe in the station structures today. No.
Sorry, can I just slide in here?
Make us have to fucking defend them.
Slide in here for one point.
Go ahead, miss.
Obviously we've been going for about 2 hours now. So the missus, this is going to be a bit of a weird flex. The missus is just asked, how was your podcast? Oh no, we're still going on. Oh, what are you guys talking about?
You're still alive?
My missus knows nothing about Eve. They released the notes from a week-long meeting and were shitting on the meeting notes. What do you mean, like the meeting you guys had personally, or the creators of the game? Creators of the game. Big changes?
What
no,
are
there's
you
nothing
doing?
Much. They just a lot of we don't know what's going on. That sounds bad. That's someone who doesn't play Eve basically said that sounds bad.
Oh, hold it. The Tito's bottle's inverted. You guys know what that means, right?
Certain people would say that particular comment is indicative of someone who hates the game, doesn't want people to play the game, and would rather have other people like quit the game. Just saying.
Yeah. I'm going officially on the record. I want everybody to play Eve Online. I want CCP to give me a reason to start telling people who don't play Eve that they need to play Eve. Okay? And I want CCP, pardon the political thing, but I actually want them to make the game great again. It was amazing in its heyday. It can be amazing again. CCP needs to get down and do it.
I also want to be on record as saying, and this is a genuine thing that I genuinely believe, honestly, right? No bullshitting, no kind of like, I'm not trying to be, sort of ironic or anything like that, right? There's a reason why EVE Online is better than any of the AAA titles and all that bullshit that you can play, other than EVE Online. And the reason why is because the work that you put in and the value that you create inside of EVE depreciates less than any other game out there. I hate to use the worst bunch, but like say NBA 2K20, right? It's been in the news, etc., etc. It's a basketball game made by 2K, right? You can pour in a ton of money in there. You can grind your heart away, as for a ridiculous amount. But next year, when 2K21 comes out, like, it's not going to be worth shit. Whereas in EVE, your stuff will still be worth shit, and to be honest, it'll carry on still being worth shit like the next year. Yeah. And that's the reason. That is a genuine reason why EVE Online is probably one of the best games to actually invest your time in.
Yeah, well, I can say that nobody who's on this show, right? And you know who that regular crowd is, and who the folks are that talk on this show. And we often complain about CCP and we complain about what they're doing with the game. But at the same time, there isn't and I can say this knowing all of you really well, right, for years. There isn't a single individual who wants this game to fail. We bitch, we moan, we critique, we criticize, and by the way, we say when they do well, because we want the game to succeed. right? Because, like I said earlier in the show, this game has all the elements that MMOs all over the world wish they had.
Okay, sorry to interrupt the
We should
flow.
wrap this up.
Go.
But we should wrap this up because a message has been sent over internet communications.
Yes.
And that message basically says we've been going for too long.
Oh,
so
okay.
we're literally
Who said
about
that?
to lose. No, it's about we've been going for 2 hours and 15, and we're about to lose our main audience and attendance. So.
Yes, because there might be something else going on about this time. Yes.
Yeah.
So, Fireside. Yes.
Do we have any before we wrap up? Before we do our last minutes, do we have any last questions? Any quick fire thing? Anything anyone want to put down in chat? Before we do our
I want to quickly say that I'm going to quickly say that I'm going to carry on working on my Google document of things people say in meetings and stuff.
Yes, that's an excellent document. We should talk about that next show.
And I shall carry on working on that.
Yes. Well, I can't believe we've gone this long.
I want to close on a positive note because, as you kind of just hinted at, when CCP does something good, they do something really fucking good. And the ACL bookmarks, amazing.
Oh, yes. Good idea.
Stuff.
Excellent idea.
Best thing they've done.
We'll talk about it
years,
next week.
And we've wished for those for 10 years.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I want to say thank you to everybody who's been out there in the audience and actually listened to us for 2.5 hours. And we don't really think we're that interesting. But thank you for your comments in the stream chat. They are all important to us. And the dude that I messaged me back. If you haven't, I haven't checked. Justin, you have. Definitely will be interesting. Thank you, everybody. And thank you, everybody who spent time being on the chat. Horrendous, everybody, the whole deal. All right. Anything else, folks? Because I don't want to do the one last thing. I just want to go because...
The one last thing I've got is events and Jitter is getting its expansion. Apart from that, enjoy your Triglavian overlords.
All right, everybody.
Triangles.
Have fun. Have fun. Have fun. Later.
See ya.
And Discord is working again.
I don't even know whether he's himself or whether he knows how to mute himself.
Bye, side.
Signal decrypted, yeah.